Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with a battle report. So this is game one of Grail Quest 2016. That's a grand tournament held every year in Durham, North Carolina. It's my favorite tournament of the year, usually either this or Buckeye Battles. Um, it's kind of got special rules to it. You need to watch my Grail Quest introductory video to get the details of those, and the lists are in the description. So overall, game one, it's obviously just a regular deployment, and there's some extra points you can get, but they revolve around killing your opponent's general, and whoever kills them get into your opponent's deployment zone, and or if your general kills your opponent's general, you get extra points, stuff like that. For the most part, it's just a straight up game. So I'm going against a Dread Elf army that's being joined by a Gargantula. So on the far right, he's got a Gargantula, he's got a Hydra, and let's see, unit of crossbows, unit of Dread Legionnaires being joined by the Cult Priest on the Divine Altar. There's a Raptor Chariot behind it, 30 Executioners, a unit of Dread Knights. Behind them are some Dark Raiders. There's two Dread Reapers, and then on the left is the second unit of the Dark Raider Fast Cavalry. Although this list is different than the one I've been playing a lot lately, I've been playing a Dread Elf army a lot lately, and so I felt somewhat comfortable with what my opponent had and what stuff can do. Let's see, so facing him, I've got my Jabberwock on the far left. His job is to fly 16 inches straight towards a Dread Reaper, and then on turn 2 charge him. So I deployed first with everything my opponent deployed reacting to me. We both knew I was going to go first. I've got my Centaur Chieftain, a Razor Tusk being proxied by a Dragon Ogre model, Gortak number 1, and then on the left of this picture was Gortak number 1. Then there's Gortak number 2. There's my Beast Sword on a Razor Tusk Chariot. Behind its unit of 10 Wildhorns. Then I have my Battle Standard Bearer riding a Rock. I have a second Razor Tusk, another Gortak. Then I have that Great Bull Taurus model that's actually just a Razor Tusk. I have 3 Dragon Ogre models, and I've lost one of them, so I had to proxy him. And then I have a unit of Gargoyles on the far right. So just a couple close-ups I took when my opponent was deploying. I love this army. This is my favorite army I've ever deployed in terms of like how it looks. I just love it. My beasties. All right, so we go to Vanguard. He moves a unit of fast cav up, like you can see. The other unit he chose not to move, and I took my Centaur Chieftain and brought him behind my lines to go to the other side. So, 1, I didn't want his Dread Reaper shooting at him, and 2, I really want him shooting at the Gargantula, who's on the other side of the board, but that's fine. I can move 12 now, and then I could move 16. I won't shoot on turn 1, but starting turn 2, I can start shooting at the guy. So, knowing I was going to go first, it looks like this. I took Gortak number 2 and charged his fast cav, and he failed his terror test and ran. He would have ran anyway, but now he can't. When he rallies, now he can't move because he didn't choose to flee. Moving up very, very aggressively on the left, and there in the middle, really I'm pulling the things that were on the right, pulling them over to the left, kind of getting away from his Gargantula. I want to keep my chaff in the middle. I need to win the chaff game, and I need to double or triple charge his Executioners. Easier said than done, but that's what the goal is. Alright, actually I take back what happened. He chose to flee my charge because then he rallied and he was able to move his fast cav. So here's Dread Elf turn 1. You can see his fast cav are back in the middle of the table, and his Ragnarok is swooping around on the right, and otherwise his stuff is just kind of staying central where it is. He goes to shooting phase and you just really can't do much. Does 1 wound to my Jabberwock, which is really kind of bad news for my opponent. Here on this other side, his crossbows put a wound on this Razor Tusk, which is fine with me as long as that thing has 1 wound left. That's all I need. And we go to Beast Turds turn 2. So Jabberwock on the top left gets a charge off. That was fantastic. I took my Razor Tusk on the left instead of trying to charge the other Dread Reaper, which is kind of unnecessary because I think my Jabberwock might be able to kill that bolt thrower, or at least beat it in combat and overrun into the second Dread Reaper. So I took him into the fast cav. My opponent decided to stay. I'm hoping I beat them and overrun and land right in front of his lines and cause problems. If you look at the top middle, you'll see my unit of 20 Wildhorns came on the board, and I brought him in 10 by 2, So they're going to just throw all their throwing weapons at the Executioner, see if I can start whittling them down. If you look at the top right, my Giant ambushes on and comes where you can see him just out of line of sight of that Hydra. So there's that. I don't know how a Giant would do against a Hydra. My concern here is the Hydra has a better initiative than a Giant, I believe. And so because of that, I think Hydra wins that. Hydra is just nasty, I know, but the Beast Giant is weird against monsters. He can roll stuff to where you're going to get one round of fighting against him, and then you may not swing ever again, and he'll just dink a wound off you or make you fail an initiative test and do 2d6 wounds. I mean, the Beast Giant is an interesting counter to monsters, but I didn't want to take the chance when I like to be able to go up here and threaten his crossbow unit. He's got a mage in there. There's a lot of points, and just kind of want to start messing with him there. So there's that. Then we shoot at him, and they kill, I believe, 4 Executioners. So now I know I'm going to get charged by the Chariot. I'm going to do a stand and shoot, and probably won't do anything, or might ping a wound off of it. He's going to win combat. I'm going to be steadfast, and so my goal is that my guys can pass some steadfast tests and eventually just plink enough wounds off that Chariot. We'll see. Yeah, over here, Jabberwock kills one Dread. I don't know if I killed them all or if just been in combat. Either way, overran into the second one, so that's nice. So these Dread Reapers are effectively out of the game. And yeah, so this guy beat the fast cav, overran, landed right where you see him. I'm actually pretty happy with that. So if he charges me, I'm going to flee because I want his knights kind of out in the open where I can countercharge him. In hindsight, I'm thinking it would have been better if I stayed. And well, I mean, whatever. Hindsight's 20/20. A lot of things can happen. Anyway, he charges him. I flee, and his knights catch me and reform, and they are like you can see them. So in hindsight, it didn't work out the way I was planning. I don't know what I was planning. But overall, it looks like that. And these guys all proud because they ran down to Razor Tusk. Chariot charges in. I don't see a wound marker. My memory was that I was able to plink. Yes, I did. There's a die up there. Yeah, so the stand shoot did 1 wound to it. So it's better than nothing. Better than nothing. Go to combat over here, and Jabberwock can only do a single wound. He has 4 attacks, auto hit. High, strength 5 to toughness 3, or toughness 4, I guess. Anyway, he only does a single wound. That thing does a wound to him, and it's a push. Or I win by 1 and he sticks. Either way, I was kind of surprised by that. After combat, yeah, he cuts this unit almost in half. I think we do a second wound to him. Yeah, we do a second wound to him, so we got that going for us. And that's with the Blooded Horn Totem. So we do have an extra attack, and we're armor piercing 2. So what I believe his armor save is a 4 up goes to 6 up, or is it 3 up goes to 5 up? Either way, it's hard to get past his toughness, but with that totem up, it's actually not too bad getting past his armor. So we go to Beast Herds turn 3. Yeah, I found out now that I'd kind of made a mistake, a very minor mistake that had huge implications later, and I'll make that more apparent in a second. So anyway, I take a Gortak and a Razor Tusk, and I charge his knights in the middle. I didn't want to charge everything up there. But again, in hindsight, I kind of wish I would have, like, in for a penny, in for a pound. Anyway, I did that. I'll talk more about that in a second. If you look at the left, Gargoyles charge fast cav. If you look at the top left, another unit of Wild Horns comes on the table. So these guys are going to step up and just shoot as Executioners again. This, when I saw that, I'm like, yeah, Gargoyles, are strength 4 on the charge. They've got a really good chance of re-rolling to hit. And they're toughness 4. So my opponent has, 10 attacks coming back at me, but he's strength 3 to my toughness 4. In hindsight, well, I don't know what I would have done in hindsight. I guess what I'm saying is when I charged in, I thought I was easily going to win that. And then I realized later that no, I don't easily win that. It really could go either way. So there's this. Yeah, meanwhile, on the right is Ragnarok. We're just kind of dancing around. My Centaur Chieftain shooting at him. Can't do anything. For 2 turns now, he doesn't do anything. But we lined it up, so I have my Razor Tusk is redirecting him. And this dude can stay where he's at, and we could just dance around all day. Or if he charges that guy, um, my my BSB on the Rock, and maybe possibly my Centaur Chieftain, because he comes in at strength 8. So he starts the game sober, but he has the looted booze special rule. So at the beginning of any turn, he can become drunk, which gives him +1 strength in turn he charges. So he's strength 5 with the Impaler, strength 7 with Thunderous Charge, strength 8 on the charge. He is no joke. Wildhorn shoot at these guys. Plinkoff, he started with 30, and it looks to me like he's down to 21. So the Wildhorns coming on shooting, they cut this Executioners down by a third. Or maybe not. He might have 23. But still, they're taking off pretty expensive models, which is kind of nice. Oh, and I forgot to talk about this. So when I declared the charge, I wanted my Razor Tusk on the left and the Gortak on the right. The problem was the way I had him positioned was the Razor Tusk couldn't go straight and get past my Gortak. So I had to take the Gortak in first, and then if I put him on the right, the Razor Tusk couldn't get in, couldn't crisscross to the left. So if I had been able to do that, at least there was a chance the Razor Tusk would zoom out on the left and be the one that got charged by the Executioners. And if they overran into the Gortak, I could at least, before we fought that battle, countercharged with everything else in my army. As it is, he gets the easy charge against the Gortak. He has a really decent chance of killing it, and he could pick me off one monster at a time, which is what you need to not do. So over here, we couldn't do any wounds to the Chariot this turn. He wins combat. I'm steadfast, and I run away. So I knew that might happen. My other unit was more than 6 inches away. I was very careful about that, at least. And then we go to combat over here, and the Gortak still can't kill this thing. This guy is the weakest monster I've ever seen. So he's sticking around. That actually was really, really lucky for me. If I'd killed him last round, that would have been nice. But this round, because I didn't kill that War Machine, and because he's just sitting there, his Chariot can't charge my Jabberwock. And my Jabberwock's immune to Psych, I can't flee. And the Chariot would have come in and I think easily taken off the last 2 or 3 wounds on that guy. So now he has to charge my Wild Horns. And, he might beat them and then run off the table, but at least I get the stand and shoot. And again, I just need to plink away a couple more wounds. Over here, yeah, so if you remember the Gargoyles charging the Dark Raiders, well, they charge in, and the Dark Raiders with 10 attacks end up doing 3 wounds on the Gargoyles. I do 1 wound back, he wins, I break, and now his Fast Cav is up, able to do what Fast Cav need to do, which sucks for me. Now, what I was thinking earlier was that what I should have done is, instead of charging them with the Gargoyles, I should have just redirected them. But now I'm realizing they're Fast Cav. He just would have marched around me. It's possible, though, I could have made him march so much around me that he wouldn't be able to redirect as well as he's going to be able to. So just really, really, really not happy how that worked out, because we get a Dread Elf turn 3, and if you look on the kind of the middle, his Dark Raiders are in a conga line, chaffing up all of my heavy hitters. His Executioners charge Gortak in the middle. His Chariot charges my Wild Horns in the top left. If you look on the right, his Hydra is just kind of dancing in front of my Beast Giant, so I can't charge around him, and I'm afraid to charge him. And his Gargantula charges my Razor Tusk in the bottom right. So there's that. There's that. If anybody can stand up to this, a Gortak can, but that's just tough. That's really tough. Because they're re-rolling to hit, strength 6. Yeah, just not good. And this is just awful. So after combat, so first I do the Jabberwock, and for the 3rd combat round in a row, I can't kill the thing. My Jabberwock is down, I think, to 1 wound remaining, and I'm just like, I swear, if this freaking bolt thrower kills my monster, I'm going to retire him, put him on the shelf, never bring him out again. But yeah, the Chariot comes in, and if my memory serves, we did a standard shoot, did a wound, and then in combat did another wound. And if I'm wrong, then I standard shoot did nothing. He came in, and we did 2 rounds in combat. I have the Blooded Horn Totem up on those guys, which makes all the difference in the world. So the Chariot's gone, which is nice, and easily kills the Razor Tusk as Gargantula reforms. And yeah, he killed the gore attack without me swinging. The thing is, if he gets me down to even just one wound left, and I can do my 7 re-rolling to hit high strength and then thunder stomp, just yeah, that would have been awesome, but wasn't meant to be. So we go to Beast Herd's turn 4, and time, by the way, is running tight. We're probably only going to get 5 turns in. So Razor Tusk goes up to redirect the Executioners. I charge at least 1 gore attack, maybe 2, into his Dark Raiders. My Beast Sword and the Razor Tusk Chariot charges his Mage who's in with the crossbows, and they flee. And my Giant just steps around the Hydra and goes back into the flank. I've decided my Beast Giant, I'm not willing to put him into that Hydra. And I'm willing to keep him out of doing other things if it does the same thing with the Hydra. And then at the bottom we have I think that's just bad news for the Gargantula. I mean, it's 3d3 strength 7 impact hits, and then then he gets a strike at initiative with my Centaur Chieftain. But whether he kills my Centaur Chieftain or not, I'm going to get 4, probably re-rolling strength 8 hits. And so there's just really no way that thing should live. Yeah, so there's that. I took only 1 gore attack into him. There's my Wildhorn stepping up, shooting again at these guys. So what started with 30 is down to, it looks 19. Actually, I think there's 21 there because I think he has a unit filler. So 20-ish Executioners just getting whittled away by those Wildhorns. And then, dang it all. Oh my gosh, it was so frustrating. So the gore attack charged his fast cav, beat it. I knew I was going to have to overrun. That's okay. I mean, I have a 1 wound left Razor Tusk up there that is going to redirect. I roll a 12, and I needed exactly a 12 to charge this unit. And he's in there. So now we're going to fight this on my opponent's turn, and I'm just feeding him another gore attack. Darn it. Meanwhile, over here, yeah, it went about as expected, except that his Gargantula attacked my Centaur Chieftain and was only able to do 1 wound. Now, I think the Lucky Shield saved 1 hit. I think he threw all his attacks at the Centaur Chieftain. That is a lot of attacks. And I saved 1 hit, and then after that, he just kind of fluffed it. Now, I saved the one that does the multi-wound or he missed that one, whatever. But yeah, so I think he he almost certainly should have killed the Centaur Chieftain. But regardless, Gargantula was going to die. But of course, the Rock has to overrun being frenzied, and because we're only going to get to turn 5, he's not going to be able to do much the rest of the game. Dark Elf turn 4, his Dread Legionnaires with the Divine Icon countercharge the gore attack. That's probably a good move because with what he had left with the Executioners, he still had a very good chance of killing the gore attack, but he wouldn't necessarily have killed him. And if he doesn't kill him, then he better hope anything else I have doesn't also get into him, because I'm getting to the point where he would just do so many wounds to him. So there's that, and with all that, there's no doubt in my mind he's going to kill that thing, of course. And he kills it. So we go to Beast Herd's turn. I take my gore attack and my general into the flank of his Dread Legionnaire unit, and I went ahead and brought my Rock around, knowing that I'm probably not going to have time to do the charge at the end. We're going to get a challenge between my general and his cult priest on the Divine Altar. And that's a little bit scary either way, but I mean, I know I'm going to do wounds to it. I just don't know if I can kill it. And that thing is just, the way it's kitted out, has some potential to kill my general. So I know I'm going to win. I know he's going to be steadfast, and elves don't break much on steadfast. For some reason, I decided to charge the Jabberwock into the flank of those Executioners. I think he has 2 or 3 wounds left, I think. I said earlier he only had 1 wound left. That was a bad recollection. So my thinking was, I'm going to charge in. I just need him not to do too many wounds to me. But he only has 2 guys fighting. And, I'm going to do my attacks. I got my Thunder Stomp. I have a charge, a flank. You're down -1 leadership anyway. And I'm thinking, if he wins that, he very well could break them and then just run them down and get all those points. So I thought I would take the chance. My opponent was positioned such that my Wildhorns back there could have charged in the rear. But then I thought I was giving him so many attacks that probably was not going to be worth it. So after combat looks like that. Yeah, he snuck through 3 wounds on my Gortak, which I was really surprised about. He didn't do anything to my Jabberwock. Jabberwock won combat. Um, but yeah, I won. I won by whatever, but they stuck. But they couldn't reform. Meanwhile, my general didn't take any wounds, put several wounds on his BSB. We go to Dark Elf turn 5. We know it's the last round. We have no time left, and he kills the Jabberwock. My general gets his BSB down to, I think, 1 wound left. He gets my Gortak down to 1 wound left, and the game ends. I mean, it was a thrilling game. It was so much fun. Just a lot of fun. It actually ended up being a fairly big win for me. I want to say I had 17 points out of this. You can get a maximum of 25 points. It's like a 20-0 system and then 5 bonus points. And just with everything involved, I was able to get enough of a point differential and enough of the extra scenario bonus points to pull out, a respectable win. And it had gone, 1 more turn, 2 more rounds, player turns. I don't know how it would have gone. I mean, I would have charged in with my BSB on the Rock, and I would have done a metric boatload of wounds. I mean, I would have won combat, no doubt about it. There's a good chance my general would have killed his BSB. There's a good chance he would have killed my Gortak. I would have won. He probably would have been steadfast, and again, it's kind of just trading points out at that point. Well, anyway, it was a great game one. Thank you so much for watching the video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has a variety of functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like or comment on the video, you can favorite it, you can share it, and of course you can subscribe to the channel. And I encourage you to do any or all of those things as a way of interacting between viewer and producer. As always, I appreciate your patronage on the channel and wish you all the best.